My name is Amy Ballantyne. Welcome to Power to the People Pleasers. I'm so excited to be here with my guest, Leasa. Welcome, Leasa.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here myself.
Today, I'm grateful for the chance to understand this topic a little bit more with your expertise. You are an intuitive transformation guide, a self-exploration expert, and a laughter yoga teacher. That's so cool. I want to talk about that later. But before we jump into this important topic, I'd love to know, we're here on Power to the People Pleasers. Have you ever been a people pleaser, and how did that show up in your life?
Yes, I have definitely been a people pleaser. My people pleasing stemmed from high functioning anxiety. So, perfectionism. I set incredibly unachievably high standards for myself in everything I ever did. My value was based on my doingness, not on my beingness. So I required external validation from everybody around me in order to feel like I'm even just enough. So with that, it was just, I had to make sure that people liked me. I thought so little of myself that what other people thought of me or how they felt about me, how they accepted me into their group, was everything. It's how I defined myself. So I had no sense of who Leasa truly was. It was all these definitions that other people had of me. And those definitions needed to be good because everybody wants to feel good about themselves. And if you don't feel good about yourself inside, and you rely on all these other people, well, you need to make all these other people happy all the time in order to feel good about you, you know? So, yeah, it wasn't until I let that realize that it was even a facade, because I had been operating from childhood in that. So, and because of that, it really was shocking when it kind of all came crumbling down, when I could no longer make every single person happy and achieve these unbelievably high standards for myself for every part of my life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was when all that came crumbling down that I'm just like, oh, I got to look at me. Whoa, okay. Because I had never actually looked at myself of, what do I think of myself though? You know, what's my opinion of me? Who is this Leasa person, right? It wasn't until I really looked into me that it was like, oh wow, I was an astounding people pleaser, perfectionist, self-doubt, like no self-esteem, incredibly insecure. You know, all things that nobody wants to go, hey, that's me. Nobody wants to do that, but that was the harsh reality of where I was in that moment. You know, yeah.
Thank you for sharing and for being so real and open. And I think you're saying nobody wants to raise their hand and say, "Hey, that's me." But I think a lot of people are starting to raise their hand and say, "That's me. This is something that's going on." So I'd love to know if you're open to sharing. You're saying things came crumbling down. Can you share a little bit of the example of
Yeah.
how did that happen, so people can see, okay, she became aware of this from this kind of state, and then now what?
Sure, yeah. So a few years ago, about 5 years or so ago, I had an executive position at one of the top 5 banks. Um, I needed to be impeccably dressed all the time. Um, on the outside looking in, I needed to feel, in order to feel like I'm even a person, not even that I'm great, just that I'm a person. I needed everybody around me to look at my life and go, wow, she's got it all together, right? Her earrings match her outfit. Her outfit matches her shoes, right? She's driving an amazing car. She has a beautiful house. She has, you know,
All the
her
externals.
mother. She's, one of the top tier people in her career. She's climbed the corporate ladder. She's successful. All things that, I mean, yeah, they all matter, I guess, to some degree, but who you are in here is number one. Like, if you don't have a strong sense of who you are, it's a house of cards all around you, you know? So, um, it was impeccably high standards I kept for myself. And if I made a mistake, oh my goodness, it was the end of the world. Like, and it could be a simple mistake, like, you know, overcooked supper. And I'm not the best cook. So, you know, often, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, something so simple, right? Overcooked chicken. And now all I can hear in my head is, you know, you suck and you need to pay more attention. And how can you be so distracted? You know, like just saying things that I would never say to another human being. I would never say it because it's so cruel and so mean and so, you know, it hurts, right? So, yeah, I really, once that all kind of came to a head, I was just like, wow, I can't do this anymore. Like I literally can't do, I couldn't get out of bed. I was medicated by doctors. I was taking probably about 4 medications a day. I was seeing a therapist, and I was still having about 5 panic attacks a day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not living. That's barely existing, barely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it all really kind of came to a head, I just came to my partner and I was just like, there's nothing left. Like I'm nothing. Like I actually seen myself as a burden to others. It was so devastating when everything fell down and I had to look at myself. It was, wow, you're horrible. You're a horrible mother. You're a horrible wife. I was going through a divorce. You know, you can't do your job. My job was slipping in my ability to have those incredibly overachieving, you know, milestones, hitting them. I was missing them every month, right? Just starting to slip, still doing my job, but slipping, right? And beating myself up over it, you know? I mean, I beat myself up over dry chicken. So not reaching a goal at work is like end of the world in my mind at that time, you know? So it all kind of came crashing down. And I'm so grateful for him because he was my voice of reason in that moment. And he was like, it's not, this isn't how it is, though. This isn't how it truly you are. Like, you're so much more than this. And so I'm a pretty strong-minded person, very stubborn, not gonna lie. Pretty sure-minded, let's call it that. But in the same token, I trusted him. And so when I truly felt like I was nothing inside and I was a burden to everybody around me, he told me that I was worth something. In his mind, I was worth, you know, the moon and the stars. I couldn't see what he seen, but I trusted that if he sees something, then there must be something. That literally was the spark. That was that glimmer of hope that I needed to move me forward on a healing journey that has brought me here to now, you know. And so I connected with a shaman, and that's kind of where it all started. And in doing so, and on my healing journey, ended up in a mentorship. And then after that mentorship, really learned what my gifts are and what my medicine is. When I started healing, I started feeling this calling. I can't describe it any other way, but it was like the strongest force I've ever felt. I needed to help others. I needed to help others. And I'm like, I don't know what that means though. And as my healing progressed, and as my growth progressed, and I had a better sense of self, and I'm clearing all these limiting beliefs and, you know, horrible thoughts about myself, and really truly finding the heart of who I am, and then loving that person, finally giving her the love that she's been deserving and wanting forever. She actually felt seen, you know? It's very powerful. And so in those times, that's when my gifts kind of came out of what I can do with energy and how I can help other people with their energy. And so for a few years, I was doing that, helping people just for free, just locally, just word of mouth, you know, hey, yeah, maybe I can help you. Yeah, let's try this. I kind of know how to do this. So this is fun, you know,
Mhm.
and I would do it. And then it was causing, you know, these powerful shifts in people's lives. And they're saying, you know, that I would go to you every week. Like,
Wow.
I want you to help me, you know? So, and then that's kind of where the business Becoming Soulful was birthed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So powerful. So powerful. Out of our dark moments come these beautiful gifts, right?
So true. So true.
I've had so many conversations with people who have similar stories of yours, this overachieving, self-doubt, always busy, perfectionism, all of this layering on of it's about making others happy all the time and what will people think and I want to be liked and all of this pressure
Yeah.
to realizing like so much of that isn't the path to happiness.
No, I had no idea what made me happy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And now my mission is to connect with others and guide them on their healing journey so that they
Mhm.
can find their joy and live it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, my program is called Live Your Joy
Mm.
because that is the goal, right? If you can find what brings you joy internally inside of you, what lights you up, it doesn't matter what's going on in the external, right? I'm not going to promise that, you know, you do your healing and then all of a sudden you're never going to have a bad day. Nothing is ever going to go wrong. I mean, let's be realistic, right? But if you can find your joy, you can emotionally regulate so easily, you
Yes.
know, and that's the ticket. That's what gets you where you need to go. That's what makes bad days, you can look at them through a different lens, a different perspective, and move forward and not be stuck.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I talk about different lenses all the time. So let's talk about this layers of high functioning anxiety and how you see them. How do these things show up in your business and how do you help these people?
So basically, how for me, I think, you know, healing is not a one size fits all. It's, you know, everybody's at different levels, everybody's had different experiences. Um, some people are really stuck in stuff from their childhood, stuff that may have happened, you know, and a lot of times people will get down on, oh, well, you know, this happened to me or that happened to me, or, you know, I do this because XYZ happened to me. Okay, but don't let that define who you are now.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to carry that. That's just a whole bunch of rocks in your knapsack that you don't have to carry anymore. We can't change that that happened. But obviously, there's a piece of you emotionally stuck in that timeline, and we need to shift it. And when we can shift that, it doesn't undo what has happened, but it does change your perspective on it, and it changes how you show up moving
Today. Yeah.
forward. Right, right. And so my big thing is really connecting with my clients to find out where they're stuck.
Mhm.
I do Akashic record readings
Mm.
in addition to energy scans. So not only will I scan kind of your aura and your energy centers and find emotional blockages that way. There could be emotional blockages that are from past lives that you're still carrying with you, or there's an ancestral piece to it. So
Right.
we can go into the Akashic records and find where that root is, and we shift it. The beautiful thing is when you do, even in an ancestral healing, but even in your own personal, you know, in your energy center, everything causes a ripple effect.
Mhm.
So that ripple effect goes back, but it also goes forward. And so you're also changing kind of the emotional well-being or the emotional baggage
Yeah.
moving forward, you know? So
Mhm.
your children, your grandchildren, your great grand, they're not going to carry that same piece, that because you've lifted that piece and it's no longer
Mm.
there anymore. So
I
it's
love that.
really powerful. It's, you know, might not make a whole lot of sense to the common ear. You know, you don't talk about Akashic records and energy healing, you know, in the line to get coffee
Yeah.
usually, although I've caught myself doing it a few times.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that though. If the common ear is listening today, and maybe they're listening while standing in line for coffee,
Yeah, true enough.
what how would you describe or help them understand what you mean by Akashic records and energy work?
Sure. So the Akashic Records is a complete library of your soul.
Mm,
So our souls, so that spark inside us that makes us alive, that piece has been on this earth many a time in many different forms, not just in the human form that you find yourself in today.
right.
And it'll continue to come back in many forms. Or that is my belief. I'm not going to start
Yeah,
a war.
absolutely.
I don't want to
Yeah.
start a fight, but that is my belief.
Mm,
And so from that belief, the Akashic Records is a complete history of your soul. Every lifetime it's ever experienced in every possible way. And every single soul has an Akashic record. So by tapping into that, I'm able, and so the Akashic records are held in a higher realm. So it's a realm that we can't see
mm,
with our eyes. But when we tap into that, we can get answers.
mm,
And energy healing, energy reading, what I've learned with my gift is that when I connect to somebody's energy, I connect to somebody's aura, I can read their aura, and instantly emotional blocks will become very, very clear to me.
wow.
Yeah.
What a
And
gift.
what a gift to try to learn. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It took a long time. I'm
Mm,
very grateful for the mentorship and all the one-on-one exposure that I've had with
mm,
shamans and other, energy healers to really hone my gift, because otherwise I don't know how I would have figured it out. So,
yeah.
um, but so once I connect to the aura, which is kind of your energy field that goes like 6 feet around everybody's physical body,
Mhm.
I can tap into that. And some people's will absorb from their environment. They'll absorb the negative energy from that environment.
Mm,
And so I'll connect, and it'll feel like trying to breathe through cotton candy is what it'll feel like. It's very fibrous. It's hard to, you know?
yeah.
Um, and so I clear it. I use sound healing and toning um, to clear it. And when I do that, I've had clients that are like, oh my God, like I feel lighter. Like I don't feel so heavy and
Mhm,
burdened. And I'm like, yeah, and that wasn't even yours. Like you
mhm,
must have went somewhere that was very toxic and you absorbed it like a sponge, and now you're carrying it and it's heavy. It's dense. So
yeah.
you feel tired, you feel weighted down. And now I've cleared it and you're just like, oh, this is
Mm,
great. Um,
mm,
and then there's, scanning your energy centers. So we all have like 7 within our body. So we scan
mhm,
those centers. And then a lot of times they'll show me if they're blocked, and I'll actually feel them in my body. And if I can feel them in my body, I can kind of get like a visual of what it would look
yeah.
like maybe a hockey puck or smoke or broken glass or something.
Mhm,
I get a visual. And then I get an idea of what emotions are tied to that.
mhm,
And then if the person wants to go a level deeper in that of, okay, but where did that grief or sadness or where did that come from though? Yeah, it's in my heart chakra, but where did it come from?
yeah.
Then I want to have a transpersonal parts therapy session, which is a one-on-one deep meditation
Mm,
where the two of us just go into your subconscious mind with the intention of let's find out where this is, why this is in your throat, sorry, your heart chakra, and why
yeah.
how do we shift it? What's the root? And your subconscious mind knows, and
It's incredible.
it'll show you, and then we move it, and it's gone. It's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining that in a beautiful, clear way.
Oh,
And
good.
I'd love to know, it was very good. So you went from this place of high functioning anxiety. Can you share now do you find yourself still in any of these states, as you shared, of self-doubt, fear, judgment, overachieving, or is it like less and less? Tell me more about like the now Leasa, where you were to what do these things look like for you now?
So now I show up as me. Now I feel strong in my body. I feel connected. I feel sure of myself. Um, and not in a conceited, cocky way, just in
Yeah.
a very grounded, very I know who I am.
Mhm.
And when you do that and you love who that person is, all the quirks and silliness and imperfections that come along with it, you just love that soul, love yourself, boundaries just pop up.
Mm.
So boundaries is a really big piece of any healing journey. You talk to anybody, boundaries are really important.
Yes, it's very important.
Right? And I was just like, especially people pleasing, to set boundaries. And I was like, how am I going to do that? And like, remember that, oh, right, I put a boundary there. You don't have to. Self
Mhm.
love is kind of the catalyst to get the boundary, not only to show up, but to stay.
Yeah.
And it'll always just be there. As long as you're rooted in self love, the boundary will be there. So you won't say yes when you really mean no.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be mean or abrasive or aggressive about it. But I've found if I don't want to do something, I a boundary will pop up and just be like, "Girl, you are way too tired today. You need to rest. I'm really sorry. I would love to help you, but you know what? I really need to rest today. I need to honor my body and I need to rest."
I
And
love that.
I've had no resistance, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that when we come from a place of boundaries in that self-love and compassionate way, others around us can feel that also,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. And, people have fallen away, but that's okay.
Mhm.
It's just you don't take that personal, right? When you
Well, I think if you're saying the people have fallen away who cared about your shoes matching and your earrings matching and whether you were like rocking at the bank or those weren't meant to be your people anymore.
right, right, right. They were great as that part of that journey that got me to where
Yes.
I am. No judgment,
Yeah.
but I'm over here now,
Yeah.
and I'm vibrating at a different level, different frequency, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, and there's just a very clear understanding. Um, with my partner, we love each other unconditionally. So we're both from very unconditional places when we're connected, but we're humans, right?
Mhm.
So we're going to bug each other just because.
Because we're humans, yes.
It's called the human condition. I don't know. But I would never do anything to intentionally hurt him, and he would never do anything intentionally to hurt me. So when that happens, there's communication
Yes.
because there's instantly an understanding of, wow, you're bumping up against a boundary of mine, right? Or whatever. Let's have a conversation about this.
Or a trigger for sure.
Right. And so when that happens, now there's communication. And like I said, every day is not rainbows and butterflies, but at the same time, there's way more communication, which means there's way more understanding. And at the end of the day, it's almost like it deepens the unconditional love because then there's like a growth of, wow, you totally see me and you get me
Yeah.
and I get you.
And
Wow.
it's good. And it's okay.
Okay, right? Because
Yes.
next week you'll probably bug me or I'll bug you and we'll talk about it. And, it's, yeah, we don't cause intentional pain on each other. So if there's a frustration or, like you said, a trigger or something, then we just talk about it. It's way different.
So yeah, it is very different. The
Yeah,
shift in state and what a gift that maybe that it did come crumbling down and you were able to find your gifts and be of service and find this different state of peace that you're in, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So
It's
as we wrap this up today, I'd love to know any final thoughts that you have for people listening who might have raise their hand to feeling that high functioning anxiety, being in that state, what are your final thoughts for what actions maybe they could take next?
Well, I guess my big message is that um, you don't have to live like that. That's
Mhm.
not life. And you don't have to live heavily medicated just trying to get through your list of to dos so that you can lay in bed at night and think about, criticize how you did those to dos and worry about tomorrow's to dos. Yes, you don't have to live like that. I did live like that. And I was like, wow, this is my life now. This is horrible. But you don't have to. And so once I realized, wow, you don't have to, I just want to tell everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It can be fixed. Wow. So
Yes.
if you struggle with people pleasing, if you struggle with perfectionism, if my story resonates with you, oh my gosh, please reach out. I would love to have a conversation of how maybe I could help you. I could help you with guidance. Whatever would need to be the case. I don't force healing on anybody. You can't do it until you yourself are ready. But even if there's just questions or you're curious or, oh my gosh, please reach out. Like, that is my message, is to touch as many people who are struggling with anxiety. Is so common. you know um, it affects most of us,
Yeah.
and we just, like I said, nobody's like, yay, look at me. Nobody wants to admit that stuff, and it makes you have to go to a place where you're very vulnerable. And I understand that, and I create a safe space where you can be vulnerable, and it's safe and it's trusted. And i I would absolutely connect and see you, because I've been there.
Thank you, Leasa.
You're
Thank you.
so welcome.
I feel your beautiful energy and your beautiful heart, and I'm so glad that you're in this new state of being and service. And people can reach out to you at your website, becomingsoulful.com, and on social media at Becoming Soulful. I want to thank you again so much for your beautiful wisdom and energy today and for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate your time.
And to all of our listeners, I want to thank you once again for tuning into Power to the People Pleasers. Stay tuned for our next episode coming soon. Have a great day.